What's up? Happy Monday, everyone. It is time for News in Motion on this MLK Day 2023. I looked up, I said, wow, they're showing up in here. Y'all woke up early anyway. I see you, Marion Jackson. I see you, Robert Holman. Robert, thank you for your support and always tuning in. You have been following us from day one, I believe. Same with Marion, Deborah Johnson, Rosanna, and Jacqueline. So I just want to give the five of you a shout out saying how much I appreciate you all. And to all of our audio listeners and now platform listeners, wherever you listen to your podcast, we just want to say thank you for the ongoing support, for sharing, for if you're watching live, for sending up the hearts and thumbs up. That helps with the algorithm. So we want to say thank you. Deborah Johnson, I need to talk to you today, girl. I know we got something going on, so make sure we talk after this. I see you, Kenny Stanley. Good morning to you as well. Kenny Stanley has been following the politics of Gail Dudley for years, I just want to give him a shout out. And now it's just a pleasure to also work with him. Robert Holman says, I will continue to follow you. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, we have a lot to share. This is a special edition of News in Motion. We want to focus on some of the activities, some call to actions that are taking place today. We want you to participate as well. Now, if you're audio or podcasting, you're driving or at work, we know you got to stay focused on the business at hand. So you can jump in and hang out with us later on. Good morning, Regina. Good morning to you as well. Jacqueline says, you're welcome. You always give us something to think about. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good morning, Felicia Williams. I see you popping up in here as well. All right, y'all. Just a few quick announcements. People are asking about the Straight Fire merch. You can get the Straight Fire merch on my website, which is gaildudley.com / shop, or you can just go to gaildudley.com and then hit the icon shop. The Straight Fire mug, for those of you asking, we can only show you one side of it, but the straight fire goes all the way around the mug, and then it has News in Motion underneath that. The long sleeve t-shirt, that is a unisex t-shirt. Check the sizes that are on there, and all of that is the information is on the website. And then you have the organic grocery tote or book tote or whatever you want to call it. That's available as well. So it is on there. The website is working now. We had it down as we were adding some things and making some changes. Also, when you go to that website, you'll see a big thing that says vote and subscribe. We're wanting you to subscribe. If you want to find out the other information that's going on with Gail Dudley or News in Motion or any type of call to action we're working on, hit that subscribe button when you go to that website. Again, it's www.gaildudley.com. I see you, Danita. Good morning to you. All right, y'all. Again, today is Monday, January the 16th, 2023, and it's time for some headlines. I see you, Davia. Good morning to you. Again, this is a special segment of News in Motion, the MLK Day News. Now, y'all, it is that time of the year where we celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King, the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his birth, his life, and the tragic death of a civil rights leader who helped transform the cultural and the political landscape of the United States through his ongoing tireless activism. This is a man who had a lot of call to actions. His mission, he was calling for peaceful protests. He's the one who gave life-changing speeches, calls for equality and justice. We know the man and his work and all the work that he was doing, even as a pastor, preacher. Yesterday was his actual birthday. He was born in 1929. Throughout this segment, I'm going to ask critical questions. One, how will you serve today? Two, what difference will today make in your life and the life of your loved ones? And three, what call to action will you accept, not just today, but every day? Y'all, yes, today is a federal holiday, but it isn't a day to just sit at home and do nothing. What are you going to do? Y'all know I'm going to feed somewhere, right? I believe in food, making sure people become food secure, which we'll talk a little bit about that today. I have a graph to show y'all later on today that's going to blow your mind. It actually made me cry when I saw this chart from Feeding America. There's so much work we can do. So my car is filled up. I'm going to deliver some food, help some people out, leave some stuff on people's porches, information I receive from other people. Y'all, I'm safe. Don't worry about it. But the other call to action I have for all of you today, if you are not a registered voter, yes, 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 yes. If you are not a registered voter in the United States, immediately after today's broadcast, I'm asking you to please visit www.whenweallvote.org and register to vote. Again, that's www.whenweallvote.org and register to vote. I'm begging you to do that. The other thing I'm asking you to do today is a call to action. If you are a registered voter, do yourself a favor and check your voting status. You can do that by going to www.iwillvote.com. Just check it and see. Y'all know I do it now. I was doing it every week going up to the midterm elections. Now I'm doing it every month just to check my voting status. Now, one more call to action that I have for you today. If you are interested in becoming an election poll worker, it's not too early to start thinking about that. During the election, don't wait till 2024. You can sign up today by visiting www.powerthepolls.org/news in motion. Excuse me. So a whole lot there. We're going to get these links. Thank you, Marion. Marion's always on it. The links are in the chat on our Facebook page. I believe they also transferred to the LinkedIn page and the YouTube page. If not, we'll make sure we get those links out there to you. So those are the call to action. So one thing you can do today on this MLK Day is to reach out to your circle of influence and say, are you a registered voter? If not, here's where to register to vote. Are you already registered? Do me a favor, just check your voting status. With everything going on, y'all, trust me, you want to check your voting status. And number 3, if you're interested, go ahead and sign up to become a poll worker. Y'all, we have a press release from the White House today. President Joe Biden will join Reverend Al Sharpton and National Action Network for an annual MLK Day breakfast that is happening today, where they will come together. Also, the Speaker Emerita, Nancy Pelosi, will also be among them during this morning. So that sounds really exciting. I have a press pass to go through virtually, but I don't have time for that. I got to go deliver some food. Also, y'all, Biden gave a sermon, not just a welcome or hello or remarks. And I think he was feeling that sermon. He gave a sermon yesterday at Ebenezer Baptist Church, the historic Atlanta church that Martin Luther King Jr. was once the pastor. This was an invitation extended to President Biden by Senator Raphael Warnock, who is a current pastor of Ebenezer. And as y'all know, he just won the runoff to serve 6 years in the Senate for the United States of America. Other presidents, even Obama of all people, have been invited and they've given remarks, but none sitting president actually gave a sermon from that pulpit. Well, it happened yesterday by Joe Biden. I don't know if he was feeling something or what, but he got excited. I was like, what? He was giving that message. So that was really good. I see you, my brother Louis Pryor III. So that is happening. I'll talk about some more stuff with President Biden in a few moments. But as y'all can see, today is a day we need to get beyond. You won't hear me give you quotes today. I'm not doing that today. We've been saying quotes. People have been misquoting and everything else. I want this to be a day of action and making sure that we're doing something significant that's going to make a difference in the lives of other people. I know you probably want to just sit back and do nothing. We're going to get to a movie list in a little while where after you've gone and done some sort of service, y'all, and hear me, it can be service of writing a check to an organization, writing a check to an MLK a center, writing a check to a food bank, writing a check to people who are doing different programs, raising up young Black and brown children. You can write a check. You can call, get on a phone bank today and call and check on people. Maybe you're going around and you're going to deliver some blankets or whatever to individuals who are out on the street. There's something that you can do today. And it's not about, oh, it's the last minute, I can't do it now. There's always time to do what you do. I see you, Shardini. I see you, Camille. Y'all want to bring in Kenny Stanley because he has some sports. And let me say this about that. I tune in to see what he's doing. I try not to go into all of the people that I call it mentoring or producing or whatever, because I don't want to hover over them. I want them to do their show and to be comfortable. Y'all's Kenny's growth, and I can say this, and he don't mind that I'm saying this. Kenny's growth is phenomenal. I tuned in last week. I was, you can watch stuff without actually getting all the way in there, but anyway, and I was coming through the back door watching it through our platform. But y'all, Kenny's podcast is absolutely phenomenal. He's found his groove. And that's what I want to say to all of you. When people are doing lives or podcasts or whatever, and they're building their brand, y'all give them space to grow. Let them find their footing as to what's working and what's not working. We do that here on News and Motion all the time. We're finding our groove. Like, where are we? What's happening now that we have this switch, the segue? What's going on? How do we get there? Y'all, Kenny has found that on his Saturday show, and it is phenomenal. And his Saturday show is not like when he pops in here on Monday and Wednesday. That's a different thing. His Saturday show, he found that groove and he was on fire. And y'all know I'm going to say it straight fire. So let's go ahead and do the intro, and the next voice you will hear will be that of Kenny Stanley. What's up?
Good morning, Gail.
Good morning.
How y'all
I'm
doing?
going to just turn it straight over to you. But once again, as I share with you personally on Saturday, job well done.
Thank you
Job
so
well
much.
done.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Appreciate
take
you.
it
Thank
over.
you. News and Motion family, good morning. Happy MLK Day. I want everybody to do what you can, get out, help somebody. Just do what you can on this day, because that's what he was about. He was about helping people advance. So please get out and help. But News and Motion family, good morning. How y'all doing? Uh, This weekend was wild. Yeah, wild card weekend was just that. It was wild. 6 games in 3 days. It'll wrap up tonight as our boys goes into Tampa Bay and trying to knock off Tom Brady. But the game started off Saturday. It started off Saturday with the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers. That game was real close until after halftime. After halftime, the 49ers said, okay, that's enough playing. Let me go ahead and get y'all out of here, show y'all the exit door to the playoffs. And that's exactly what they did. They beat the Seattle 49ers beat the Seahawks 41-23. The second game, the nightcap, oh my. I just told Gail this morning, and I shouldn't have done it. I know better, but I turned the game off. Jacksonville Jaguars looked like they was on their way out the door. Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions in the first quarter and part of the second quarter before halftime, and they were down 27-0 at halftime. The game was off. I watched the movie with my wife. Movie went off. I said, "Let me see what happened." Turned the game back on. The Jaguars, that came all the way back. They held. They held. They held. Who they play? Jacksonville. The Chargers. They held the Chargers to 3 points in the second half and won the game 31-30. Moral of the story is, don't count nobody out. That's the moral of the story. I counted them out. You can't do that. Hey, Jacksonville's that team. Third in the games yesterday, the New York Giants. No, it was the Buffalo Bills first. The Buffalo Bills, that game went all the way down to the wire, and the Bills won the game on a comeback, 34-31. The second game was the Giants and the Minnesota Vikings. The Giants were not picked. They were picked to finish dead last in the NFC East. And here they are. They winning in the playoffs. That's a scary team. Watch your back. The Giants are coming out to do some damage. They knocked the Minnesota Vikings off 31-24. And the third game, it took a 98-yard fumble return for a touchdown to push the Bengals over the Ravens 24-17. That was a good game. It went all the way down to the end. Hey, I'm just hoping that the night's game is just as good. I hope my Cowboys can go in and right the ship from last week debacle because they looked horrible last week. Hopefully they got it together. Please go in, Cowboys. Let's do what we got to do and go in here and beat Tampa Bay. Hey, Buckeye fans, this may be some good news. CJ Stroud has until the end of the day in order to declare for the draft, the 2023 NFL draft. If he doesn't declare, it could mean it. It could be another title run for the Buckeyes. I'm hoping for another title run. CJ Stroud, please come on back. Stroud is considered to be a top 5 player. Some even say he could be the number 2 person drafted behind his best friend, Alabama quarterback Bryce Young. Uh, that relationship goes all the way back to high school. CJ Stroud played in the division right up under Bryce Young, but they've been friends for a long time. So they talk to each other every week, and it would be rightfully so that they go 1-2 in the draft. But CJ Stroud hadn't declared yet, so he may be back. Look out, Michigan. We coming. We coming. Hey, that's sports. We're going to go back to Gail for some more news. Happy MLK Day. That's it. Game over.
Listen, I want him to come back. I was like, I want him to
So
come
do
back. I
I.
want him to come back and beat Michigan. I want him to come back and win the Heisman. I want him to come back and be the first round draft pick. So I want him to come
Yeah.
back. But that's my selfish side. But
Yeah.
he got some big millions out there on the table. So I don't know.
I don't know, but I want him back. I want him back.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Kenny. Have a
Thank you
great
so
day. Get out
much.
there and do some service.
All right. I
All
see
right.
y'all. All right.
Okay, cool. Y'all, justice officials have discovered 5 more classified documents at President Joe Biden's Delaware home while on site Thursday to collect separate documents found in December. This isn't looking good. This is not looking good. Now, if you wonder why I'm talking about it, well, I'm talking about it because one, I want to be fair and balanced. The other thing is, why am I not going as hard on Joe Biden as I went on the former guy? Because the former guy had 15 boxes and the National Archives have been trying to get those boxes for over a year and he wasn't going to give them up. And they realized what was missing in the classified documents. Some of that was top secret, the highest level top secret at Mar-a-Lago. So that's why I was riding hard on him, plus all the other scandals, the insurrection. Y'all know his company had to give up 1.6 million, the highest with this whole tax fraud piece in New York. So that's why Biden, this is just kind of like somewhat embarrassing to him. We don't know where they came from. There's a special counsel that's reviewing all of this. So we just have to stay tuned. Also, y'all, the Supreme Court has approved a slate of 8 new cases for the spring, including a case involving religious rights of employees. This is going to become very interesting, so stay tuned. And if you're wondering why I'm already pushing signing up, getting registered to vote, is here's my reason. The Republicans who voted to overturn the 2020 election, I'm not all of them, 11 of the 17 new House committee chairmen. There's 11 of them who now have the chairman position. Let me give those to you. Representative Glenn Thompson for Agriculture Committee, Mike Rogers, the Armed Services, Jody Arrington, Budget, Virginia Fox, Education and Workforce. And by the way, under education, that's pretty scary because she is one of the ones who's asking to ban books and labels and looking at curriculums and everything like that, y'all. So go back to our Thursday segment where I talked about prayer and all the things we're praying for. That's another one we need to pray for. Mark Green for Homeland Security, extremely bothersome. Jim Jordan for Judiciary Committee, extremely concerning. Roger Williams for Small Business, Sam Graves for Transportation and Infrastructure, Mike Bose for Veterans, Jason Smith for Ways and Means Committee, and Frank Lucas for Science, Space, and Technology. We should be concerned. We should be very concerned. I'm just glad I know somebody bigger than the people I just named. So with that, I want to change a little bit and talk about MLK Day 2023 and some of the activities and events that are out here. Some that we came up with was with the AmeriCorps organization. They were saying again, uh, food bank, painting, going to elementary schools, middle schools, or high schools to help secure the space. Take backpacks. So many people think about the start of the school year where we're trying to make sure students have everything they need, but once they get there, the second half of the year, they've ran out of supplies. So they talk about that. They're also talking about reading to elderly, reading to young people, going to rehab centers or nursing homes if you can. They said with COVID, there's some restrictions that have lifted, but there are many restrictions that are still in place. So just be mindful of the things to do. Go to events. When you're attending MLK Day breakfast, that's happening all over the United States, take a plate to someone else or make sure you take someone with you. There are many places that the tickets did not sell out all the way, so it's not too late to check, but you can go on the individual websites to see who still have tickets and if you can take someone with you. um, Clothing drives, cleaning up your neighborhood streets, having conversations. A lot of people are just doing what they're calling coffee and chats today, having a conversation. Be open to put things on the table that someone may be uncomfortable with, but that will help you get through the conversation. They talk about some of the things you can talk about today. You can talk about the debt limit that will be happening on Thursday in the House of Representatives. Talk about book banning, talk about the different labels, talk about some of the trauma that people are facing today, talk about the disparities when it comes to voting and voting rights. There's so much out there that you can talk about. So that's just some ways of doing things. There are different marches that are taking place. You can just really go to Google and put in MLK Day events and activities, and many things will pop up. So that's one thing to do. Now, for me, I want to talk about, y'all know what I want to talk about, food insecurity and what it's about and what can we do to help. So I want to give you again the definition of food insecurity, and I'm bringing this to you from Feeding America. We're actually, Feeding America News in Motion is working on how we're going to do more and more work together, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, the USDA defines food insecurity as a lack of consistent access to enough food for every person in a household to live an active, healthy life. So that's what food insecurity is. Again, y'all, the numbers are starting to rise again, especially with inflation. I don't know about y'all. I'm going to that grocery store like this is crazy. I left Kroger grocery store yesterday. I had 4 bags. Now we had already done our grocery shopping, but there were things I needed to make this week, right? When that man told me again, he told me how much. I said, "What'd you say?" Like this is more than this is half. With 4 bags was half the price of what I had. What 12 bags the other day? Like, are we serious right now? So just imagine someone who was already struggling and they're trying to eat and they can't eat. They can't eat. So y'all, the number is rising. It's now more than 36 million. The last number I've given you, I believe, was either 33 or 34 million. 36 million people, including now the number went down for children. But when I did some research, I think it's because people are now 18 and over and they're not considering them children. So as the year change, that age group changes. It cuts off at 17. So including 9 million children experience food insecurity in the United States. Roseanne said, eggs cost more than a gallon of gas. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Now, y'all, some of the causes of food insecurity, poverty, unemployment to low income, excuse me, lack of affordable housing, chronic health conditions or lack of access to health care, systemic racism and racial discrimination. Some people ask at times, how does this play in? It plays in. Come on, it happens even when it comes to voting. So imagine it's going to happen when it comes to food and housing as well. Effects of food insecurity. Food insecurity can cause serious health issues when people have to choose between spending money on food and medication or health care. Food insecurity can make a more difficult for a child to learn and grow. Y'all know I've been talking about that. Children who are hungry, they are unable, I should say unable, they have difficulty comprehending that lesson for the day. So they're missing out. They're not learning because they're hungry. Their health and their hunger is more important than learning their ABCs or mathematics or science, history, sociology, and so forth, geography. Food insecurity can lead to difficult decisions like choosing between food and rent and bills and transportation. I have a chart that I want to share with you today, and I want everyone to pay attention to this chart. This is the chart that had me almost, well, it did have me in tears. And I was asking my husband, how can we help? And what else can we do? And we talked about, when we see these numbers, it's like, okay, we fed how many people during the holidays? Well, that's not even putting a dent in it. It's more than none, but it's still troubling. So just give me a moment as I work through this. 69% had to choose between food and utilities. Y'all, 69% had to choose between food and utilities. 67 had to choose between food and transportation. They're saying, okay, do I need transportation or do I want food? 66% had to choose between food and medical care. So their illness, and we say food is medicine. Well, they can't even get the proper food because they're making a choice. Do I have food or do I go get my medical care? 57% had to choose between food and housing. Even that's another thing. Okay, do I want housing or do I want to be fed? What does that look like? Do I want to pay my rent or do I want to put milk in my children's cereal? Do I want to get cereal? Because cereal is expensive as well. 31% had to choose between food and education. 79%, this is a high number, and I want y'all to listen to this, please. Purchase inexpensive, unhealthy food. They're like, just give me something. So if that's a McDonald's French fry, for $1, I'm gonna go get that. Although it's unhealthy, it's a lot of grease, it's a lot of fat, unhealthy fat. Do I eat that? Do I eat some cookies? Do I eat some donuts? What do I do? And that's what's happening. They're turning to inexpensive, unhealthy food in place of nutritional food. 53% receive help from friends or family. 40% watered down food and drinks. For example, if they have milk and they're trying to spread milk to 5 people in the family, more than half of that is water and the rest is milk. 35% sell or pawn personal property, and 23% grow food in a garden. The median annual income for households served by Feeding America Network. I want y'all to hear this. Thank you so much, Isaiah. Y'all, is $9,175. That's what they're living off of for a year. $9,175. Y'all know that's not going to do much for anybody. For anybody. So again, as I said earlier, when we came on the air, I have those 3 questions for you, and I'm going to ask these 3 questions of you again. How will you serve today? What difference will today make in your life and the life of your loved ones? What call to action will you accept today? Just looking at that graph, that should make you just want to just be sick. It's like people are among us living in these conditions. Here's the truth from Feeding America. You could live in a suburban area and the person next door to you is without food. We don't know these things because we're no longer having conversations with our neighbors. So how will you serve your neighbor? How will you check on your neighbor today? And again, I asked a question. I love the fact that Dr. Eric Currens brought this up when he was on the show when we returned after the holiday. Is again, and you've heard me say this so much, we have to be so careful of the conversations we are having at the table, because the person at that table may be in need, but they will not ask because they are hearing the conversation that's being had at the table. Whether we're casting, throwing shade or casting doubt or making some sort of comment, excuse me, that could be offensive, and not that we mean to be, not that we mean to be, but we have to be mindful of these conversations that we're having. So y'all, there's so much there. Do your own research for the numbers. Maybe you start doing some lunches for preschools or elementary school kids. I have a relative who is a director at a daycare facility, and they were saying to me, "You have no idea the hunger of not just the children, but the parents, and how frail they look and sickly they are." I'll get Isaiah to pop some of these up. Latrice Jones says 79% turning to inexpensive, unhealthy food is also in a mindset, like something that's better than nothing. You're right, Latrice. And that's what they were saying in this piece. And I didn't read I mean, there was like several pages of Feeding America, that they're like, okay, how do I rationalize this? How do I, what do I do here? And even in some cases, they were saying popcorn. They'll go to popcorn, which is a very unhealthy food. But if the bag is 50 cents, let me just get something in my system, something in my stomach. So thank you for pulling that out, that it is a mindset. Kenny Stanley said, I was just talking to a friend of mine about the price of making a healthy salad and going to get fast food, 2 for $5 double cheeseburger, horrible. And that is true. And that's exactly what Latrice was saying as well. It's horrific. It is horrific. And we just have to be mindful of what's happening, which I'll talk about this later this week. But this whole debt limit thing that's coming up, and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has been talking about it. And you already hear the Republicans from the House saying they're going to hold the floor. They're not going to let it happen. Well, if they don't let it happen and we can't pay the bills that we have to pay to keep the government and the country running, it's going to hit. This money has to come from somewhere. So will we see higher prices again all over? We already got high prices, but will they increase even more? How will we be able to absorb those things? Deborah Johnson says, my friend is a teacher. Isaiah, if you can put that one up there, and brings food for her students every day. They come to school so hungry. And then Fred Jones says, it seems like the food industry and the healthcare industry are in bed together. Yeah, and I'll even say the pharmaceutical companies as well. So there's so much we can, but this again comes back to we the people and our voting power. It is more than a popularity contest. It is more than that. I know I'm preaching to the choir, to the viewers here, but we have to get this information out to everyone else in our circle of influence. So y'all, not that you want to do this, and this is where I want you to participate. I went through and prayed about it and pulled out some movies I think will help us. And the movies I pulled out should actually motivate us to do something good, or motivate us to keep us from continuously turning back. So here are a few movies that I have, and I want you in the chat. And if you're listening by audio or on our podcast platform, please join one of our chats later on throughout the day, whether that's LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, because we want to hear from you as well. Some of the movies or docu series to watch today. Selma, and I understand that some of these movies can really take you to another place, but Selma, The Green Book is another one. Judas and the Black Messiah, Mississippi Burning. Believe it or not, I went all the way back and pulled out To Kill a Mockingbird. This amazing docu series that's now on Netflix called Descendant. Must watch. I might have to go to Netflix and say, I'm promoting you just way too much. What kind of deal we can make? The movie Boycott, King in the Wilderness. If you have not seen that, that is from an independent film company. The King in the Wilderness is amazing. It's amazing. MLK and the FBI. That's another good one. And if you have not watched The Banker, starring Samuel L. Jackson. If you have not watched The Banker, watch The Banker. Trust me, that movie alone will motivate you. If you have any movie suggestions, please put them in the chat so that we can determine which ones. And you have to be in the right frame of mind for some of these movies. I'm just going to be honest with you. So please list in the chat any other movies I may not have called out today as a reminder of either how far we've come or to motivate us to make sure we don't turn back. I'll be talking about this more on tomorrow. But y'all, do y'all know a woman put on the floor that women need to have their arms covered when they come in to do business on the floor in state senate office? I'm gonna talk about that tomorrow. And then that the women now have a dress code, but the men didn't have a dress code, and there was a woman who put that on the floor on last week. We're going to talk about that. Yeah, that is happening. When I read about that, I said, ooh, if this is not Handmaid's Tales, I don't know what is. So that's what's happening. So put any movies, if you have any, please put any in the chat so that we can be sure to tune in. I want to turn now to our inspirational message. And today, in keeping up with MLK Day, I'm going to talk about love your neighbor. And it will also include an article of something that happened that maybe many of you have seen because the video went viral. So, of course, I'm going to give a scripture this today, Deuteronomy 28:48. Therefore, hunger and thirst, in nakedness or dire poverty, you will serve the enemies the Lord sends against you. He will put an iron yoke on your neck until he has destroyed you. Yep, that's the message I'm putting out here. And this comes from WRAL News, who's reporting, and this video has gone viral. You may have seen a disturbing video, of a man who is an owner of a antique art gallery hosing down a homeless woman in the cold temperatures in San Francisco, California. He connected his hose, he turned the water on, and he hosed down this woman. Another business owner captured this on camera, and the video has since gone viral. Let me know if you have seen it or heard about it. And it has gone viral. Edison Garcia is the owner of a cafe who was on his way to delivering a catering order when he caught this. He said he turned and saw the guy hosing the woman down. Garcia, who has seen the homeless woman in the North Beach neighborhood before, said he has never found her to be belligerent. He's always seen her to be calm. He said, given the weather conditions, he found the man's actions especially cruel. Weather conditions or not, I think it was cruel, okay? He goes on in a quote and says, it was cold and raining. She was screaming, saying, okay, I'll move, I'll move. It's not fair to see people doing stuff like this. Reporters tracked down the man with the hose. His name is Foster Gwynn, art gallery owner. The name of the company is Foster Gwynn Art Gallery. The owner is Collier Gwynn, who admitted to his actions. Yeah, he admitted to it. Garcia said that he knows the woman and she's always been very calm. She's just looking for a place to lay her head. He goes on to say, this is Garcia, the person who filmed it. The lady doesn't go inside the business. She sleeps on the street. Now, y'all, San Francisco is in a homelessness crisis, which has really frustrated many of the residents and business owners. California Governor Gavin Newsom pledged $750 million to clear the state's homeless encampments. I can say when I was in Los Angeles during the holidays, I cried again as the Uber driver was taking us to where we were going. And I was like, this is unbelievable. On the highways, on the streets, on the corners, under the viaducts, in between buildings, there are camps made up. You saw kids, you saw people using water bottles, washing up. And we were at a light and I was like, please, light, just change, just change, just change. When I was watching this woman comb this child's hair, the child was trying to get dressed, but she was getting dressed into dirty clothes with mud on. And I'm sitting there watching this, thinking, what can we do? What can we do? How can we help? How can we do something about this? We are spending billions upon billions of dollars for campaign ads. We can get rid of homelessness. And then I have my daughter who reminds me very calmly, Mom, if it was that easy, there's this she said, politics, there's this political landscape that's not going to allow that just to happen, because that has to be a project and something to keep everything else afloat. She said it's all a part of the system. And the sad thing, and you've heard me say it here before, the system is working for those who designed it. But at what cost, and what destruction, and what insult to other people who are out here. So, y'all, the inspirational message today is love thy neighbor. Show love to your neighbor. Show love to your neighbor. Love your neighbor. It's so important. But that's what he did. All I can remember was the hosing down white people to black people when I saw this. I said, we're really going back there. That's what we're doing here. So that's why I asked those three questions again today that I'll ask before I sign off. And the questions are, how will you serve on today? And if I can take it further, how are you going to make this a part of your everyday life? Or how are you going to serve monthly? Or how are you going to serve quarterly? How are you going to serve? There are a lot of places and people you can write checks to, seriously. And y'all, don't always go for the top organizations. There are people who are doing the work every day. Bless them, serve them, give to them. If somebody has changed your life, or you've seen someone doing the work, give to them, regardless of what you think they may or may not have. Give to them. I can sit here and say, I don't see Kim Edmondson on here this morning, but I can sit here and say Al Edmondson is doing some major work. Major work. Mary Jenkins, who tune in, major work. Major work. um I'll even go to Latrice Jones with her work even beyond Columbus City Schools. Major work. Major work. Pastor Alex, major work. Kimberly Graves, I believe she's in Tennessee, major work. Hester Jackson, major work. And dare I not say, News in Motion, we're doing some major work. So, how will you serve today? What difference will today make in your life and in the life of your loved ones? What call to action will you accept? All right, y'all gotta go deliver some food. Hopefully, there's some information you've gleaned from here. Some movies. Keep putting movies in there. If you see them, let me see what some of you are saying. Deborah says there are so many homeless communities now. We have to find a way to help. Fred Jones said, believe it or not, homelessness is profitable for some people. Yep, it sure is. Kenny Stanley, it has always been about the haves and those who have not. Shirley says heartless. Jacqueline says, yes, I saw that. The police came and evidently guarded the man, not the homeless woman. Wow, I didn't see that part. Kenny says the video was so horrible I couldn't watch it. Roseanne, that's evil. And it is evil. But y'all, we have work to do. We have work to do. And I believe that we have to press through to do the work. Again, think about Martin Luther King Jr. and his work, his activism, his peaceful protests. He did not quit. His speeches that he made, he did not quit. He was tired, but he did not quit. Y'all, come on. I told y'all back when we came back after our break that we are bringing miracles to other people. I still see that. I still get emotional when I think about it. Miracles, many miracles, Latrice Jones, many miracles every day. And God is using those of us who are ready. He's using us to help deliver these miracles to people. So let's go deliver some miracles today. Y'all stay well and remember, make some bold moves. I'm out.